top of his head. Come and listen to the words that he said. If you wasn't sure, well now you will know. It will be one of your favorite shows.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Haas Talks, and joining me now, Talin Turner. Talin, dude, it's always fun whenever I get to talk to you and chat with you. Thanks for coming on the show again. I think it's going to be like a yearly deal, at least once or twice a year, that we get to chit-chat about things because, I mean, you're just a jack of all trades.
Yeah, thanks, Haas. Thanks for having me on.
So let's just dive right in, dude. You just had some TSA stuff going on with the school and everything else. Tell me what you've been doing with all that.
Yeah, so we just had our state conference this week. I participated in data science and analytics.
So, like, what do you do at that? Like, your conference? Like, are you, like, in a suit and tie?
Yeah, so this year it was virtual.
Right.
So we were in the school doing it instead of traveling to Wichita, Kansas. So this year that event was based off the census results. So we had to kind of predict the outcome of the state and where it will change.
Oh, man. So, like, getting, like, deep down into stuff here.
Yep.
So, aside from that school, like, people, I don't think people realize how involved you are with racing. I mean, like, you're pretty involved in school. You know, you do the TSA. You're a pretty good student for the most part. Yeah, whatever, school, blah, blah. But in racing, you do a lot. I mean, you've flagged. You've been a race director. You've been a tech guy. You've been an announcer, a driver. I mean, what else is there? I mean, you do it all. What about all this stuff intrigues you and, like, makes you want to do it? Like, what is it about racing that just makes you want to know everything you can know about it?
I mean, it's just the love of racing. I mean, we're so addicted to it. Just seeing it from all the different aspects really opens it up to a different way of racing. Knowing all the different ways, all the different parts that go into it that makes it successful.
Of all of it, other than driving, like, what's your favorite part of it? Is it doing the race director? Is it announcing? Is it, well, like, aside from racing, what is your favorite part of racing?
Besides from racing and working on the cars, it's either announcing or race directing. Those two are pretty close, besides racing, of course.
So you're 14?
Yep.
14 years old. And you've been around the sport for, what, 4 years? 3 years?
Yeah, a little over 4 years. Well,
So-
I've been around modified racing for my entire life. We sponsor a modified at Lakeside Speedway. So I've been around stock car racing a long time, but I've been around open wheel for a little over 4 years.
So you come over here, and you get this whole new aspect of it. What goes into being a race director? Do you feel goes into being a good race director?
I mean, you just have to think about the broad picture of everything, look over everything, double check. You have to know the rules that you're trying to call everything by. Make sure you see the broad picture of everything, not just focusing on one part of the track, but everything, see what goes into it, what led up to it, what's happening after it, and then just the judgment calls that come with it.
Do you feel like being a driver gives you kind of a better viewing of, man, that shouldn't have happened, or he could have stopped from doing that, she could have done something different to avoid that?
For sure, definitely being able to feel it in a car and then see it from the tower, it makes a huge difference. You can tell when somebody did something intentionally or if it was just a plain accident.
So reading rule books, you race not only, I mean, you started at Sweet Springs, so that's kind of where you honed in the skills, and you got to do different things because that track is like a volunteer club ran track. So you got to see different aspects of it. But now that you're traveling with the Lucas Oil National Open Wheel 600 Series, and you come to Port City Raceway on a regular basis to race here, do you look at these rule books in a different way now, knowing the back end of things?
Definitely. I mean, a lot of people don't understand what all goes into the rule books and why things are worded the way they are until they actually are in the position where they have to direct off of the rule book. Because a lot of the wording's really particular for certain reasons, and a lot of people don't understand it. They just get frustrated when it doesn't go their way.
Right.
Until they're actually in the position when they have to call from it and read through it and make a judgment call based off it in the situation.
So you like race directing, you like announcing, of course, especially whenever you get to announce with me. And I really like it whenever you get to announce with me because it just it makes the job so much easier because you're just a talented fool. Let's talk about your racing this year. Last year, you raced quite a bit. You know, you came and you did some Now 600 stuff, and now the opportunity arises to where your dad, yourself, and Matt Carr have formed Forge Performance, and Matt and I talked about it yesterday in the previous episode about the forming of that deal and what it's going to allow for you to do. You know, he was the crew chief for Joshua Gentry that won the points championship here at Port City Raceway. He got to work with you a little bit, a couple of races last year, and it just seems like it's a really good fit. What has it been like? I know we're really early in the season here, but what's it been like working with Matt, and do you feel like you and Matt mesh a lot better and things are going in more of a way than whenever it was just you and your dad?
Yeah, it's been a transition working with Matt versus my dad. It's just a different aspect. Me and Matt, it's early in the season still. We worked some last year, so we kind of judged each other by our styles then, and we're still getting there. We're progressing pretty good, trying to get how the car I likes, what he needs to do to set it up right, and our communication between that. It's just a different aspect coming from your dad to somebody else into working on your car.
Do you feel like it helps you having Matt, knowing that Matt still gets in a car on a regular basis and runs? Do you feel like the terminology that you two use with each other to describe things clicks a lot easier than whenever it was just you and your dad?
That's a big thing because he, especially with him racing the same weekends that I do, him going out on the track before me, he can give me a more general aspect to what the track's doing right down to the point where there's this rut over here in turn number 4. If you enter maybe a few inches below it, you're fine. He can give me the exact point of what I need to do because he was just out there.
So moving into 2021, it's been known and it's been announced that you're going to be running for the full Now 600 deal. You're going to be hitting some races here at Port City whenever time allows because the Forge Performance shop is literally less than 5 miles down the road. And then this summer, you're going to get the chance to come and spend some time in Tulsa once school lets out and everything else, which, by the way, thanks, Mom, for allowing Talin to make a trip down and maybe have a sleepover or two with Matt and Haas, but we won't go into too much detail about that. What excites you most about the race season? Is it just hitting different tracks? Is it getting to work with Matt more often? Is it getting to be around the micro sprint capital of the world, Tulsa, Oklahoma? Like, what are you excited about this season?
I think it's really a mix of everything. We're running the full Now 600 points. We're seeing all these new tracks and areas and a bigger, broad area of competition. I mean, the best of the best runs with the Now 600 and at Port City, plus Forge Performance starting up the potential it has and getting it going. That's really exciting. Then just being down at Port City Raceway as much as we can.
So in the Now 600 deal, you're going up against a guy named, I'm trying to think of his name. What is his name? He drives that number 2B car.
Oh, Garrett Benson?
Oh, yeah, that's the guy's name. The guy that's won 3 in a row here at Port City Raceway. You ran second to him last night. Your thoughts on your performance versus the challenge that it's going to be racing against a competitor like Garrett for the full season?
I mean, Garrett's one of the best of the best. I mean, Nathan Benson's been around micro racing his entire life. They've built G-Force chassis. They know what they're doing, and they're extremely fast. Last night, we just moved up to the top when we probably should have went to the bottom. It was just a one-lane track, so we kind of opened ourselves up. But once Garrett got by us, we went down. And he never pulled away from us. We were all right there. It was just right around the bottom, so we didn't have much we could work with. But Garrett will be a tough competition all year. He always is. So it'll be interesting to see how it all can play out.
Now, whenever you go to these different racetracks, are you doing your research? I mean, you're a research guy, a numbers guru. You know, you like to know your data. Are you watching different videos? Are you looking at, are you like, hey, I know Garrett Benson put a GoPro on his car at Creek County last year, at Port City or whatever. Are you watching these other guys, their in-car cameras or just replays of footage of racetracks? Are you focusing more so on your competitors, or are you worried about the racetrack?
A little bit of both there. Like, I'll go and watch Flo's replay on Monday if I wasn't there and kind of watch what it does. I'll look up some YouTube videos of the tracks and watch them, but just when we get there talking to people there that have raced there more often, what does it normally do? How is everybody here? What's the competition like? How's the track going to form later through the night? Just stuff like that once you're there with the people that race there a lot often.
Kind of take some notes and some mental notes from other people. So you're running the Now 600 deal. You're going to run Port City. But I also hear, and Matt told me yesterday that in the previous episode, that roles are going to be reversed a couple of times this year.
Yeah, for the big outlaw shows, I'll be crew chiefing for Matt, and we'll be hitting the biggest outlaw races while still allowing us to be able to go to the Now 600 races.
So are you like keeping mental tabs and keeping notes on Matt whenever he messes up or something that he says to you like, Talin, quit being a wuss and run it in deeper, so that you can be like, hey, Matt, quit being a wuss and run it in there deeper. Like, are you keeping tabs on like to one-up him? Like, are you just like...
I mean, you always keep those things in your back of mind just as jokes, like me and Rusty Dicing are always doing that to each other.
Yeah.
But it's not really something it just comes up in the moment. Like, hey, remember this at Port City? Yeah. Why don't you try that at SIR?
Yeah, right. Hey, you remember that page in the notebook? Let's flip back and let's try it again. So whenever you're doing that, you're going to be focused more on making sure the car is right, making sure that you and Matt are talking about air pressures or whatever the case may be. During the time that you're here in Tulsa this summer, is your focus going to be on just your cars and you're going to just focus on your stuff, or are you going to get in there and do some customer relations with Forge Performance as well?
I'm really hoping to get deeper in Forge Performance with Matt down here running it mainly during the off season, with me down here during the summer, be able to help out there, especially when you get more busy and need more help.
And it'll just open up your learning curve and everything else. Yeah. Whenever we talk about the learning curve, whenever you ran junior sprints, you started working at Scott Racing Engines.
Yep.
And aren't you still doing that some?
As much as I can, especially with coming down here every weekend and doing that. But as much as I can, I'm still in the shop. So now that you've moved on to restrictor, you're starting to run some A-class stuff. Do you watch the junior sprints and go, man, this guy, if he did this, he could. Do you kind of see yourself as maybe taking on a little bit of a role of trying to maybe help some of these younger kids? I mean, I know you're a young kid, but still, you're kind of a veteran, and you know a lot of the stuff whenever it comes to that junior sprint stuff. Yeah, I try to watch as much junior sprint races as I can. I'm glad we're out of it for sure, but I still watch it, and you can still kind of nitpick stuff that were out there because I was once out there as one of them.
Right.
So you can still kind of watch them, and there's a few people I'll go up and help and talk to them, and I still help people with Dennis's motors and stuff for the track, and they have problems, I go up and help them. You're
a pretty smart cookie whenever it comes to that motor stuff. Like, you know the ins and outs.
I try.
You try. So the one thing that you're looking forward to the most this season?
Running with the Now 600. Probably traveling as much, trying to chase after the national points. That's probably excites me the most.
So whenever you're gathering your thoughts and your stuff for the day, like, how do you approach things? Are you a guy that's like just go at it full force? Are you a guy that's like being kind of cautious? Like, whenever last night you started on the pole last night. So are you like, I gotta go? Are you like, nah, I gotta go, but we need to kind of make sure that the waters are good? Like, how do you approach a race night?
I'm more of I gotta go. Like in the feature, I just went straight up to the top and went up there, and that's when Garrett got by me. So I'm more of I don't sugarcoat anything. I just go straight to the point.
So you're a tops up here guy. You like going straight to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of. It's not always. Can I get an oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
Anyways, so Talin, outside of racing, you're into school. Pretty good student there. I mean, your sisters play sports and everything else. Was sports just not your thing?
Not really. I mean, I've tried basketball, baseball. I played football through middle school until I broke my wrist, and having to race with a broken wrist, we decided that football was no longer an option.
No longer an option. Not going to do it.
We're not doing it anymore.
So, Talin Turner, what's your go-to meal on race day? Like, do you have any superstitions? Like, you won't eat chicken or peanut M&Ms or?
I'm not a big superstitious person. I mean, maybe I should be, but I'm not. I'll pretty much eat anything.
So anything goes.
Yeah, pretty much anything.
Whatever. That's exactly what your dad said. Your dad's like, yeah, he'll just eat anything.
You put food in front of me, I'll most likely eat it.
So what's your go-to meal? Like your favorite meal? Like if I was to be like, Talin, let's go get your favorite meal. Like, Haas, we're gonna go to
steaks. I love myself a good steak with a baked potato.
Oh, baked potato steak connoisseur, eh?
Yep.
How do you like your steak?
Medium rare.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow. Lots of pink, huh?
Yep.
Man, I like mine medium, just medium.
Medium.
I'm not a rare guy. Well, I mean, I am rare.
Yeah.
I'm one of a kind. Enough
Definitely.
about me. So are you an early morning guy, or are you like trying to hide underneath the covers whenever they're telling you to go to bed?
So it really just depends. Like driving home, I normally am one that falls asleep. But if like we're doing something, I'm fine staying up late. But it's hard for me to sleep, and I'm always up early, no matter how late I was up.
Are you a chocolate milk or like a white milk guy?
I'm more of a strawberry. I'm in the middle.
Man, I like that. Not a bad choice at all. Are you
Yeah.
a bacon or a sausage guy?
It really depends on my mood.
Really?
If Rusty's making bacon, I have to say that so Rusty doesn't get mad. I'll eat Rusty's bacon, but I'll get sausage some places too.
Are you a waffle or like a pancake guy?
Pancake.
I'm a big breakfast fan. I love breakfast.
I normally don't eat too much breakfast, but pancakes.
Pancakes over waffles.
Yeah.
So, your girlfriend, how's she doing these days?
That's a good question. I didn't know I had one, Haas.
Well, I just heard a rumor that there might be somebody that you were talking to, so I had to bring it up on air
Yeah.
just to see your reaction. It didn't work.
No.
Man. So, Talin, you're 14 years old. You have a lot of learning left to do. You have a lot of growing left to do. But you're wise beyond your years. If you had to give a piece of advice to one of those junior sprint kids, or even one of the parents that are just now getting their kids started, what's a piece of advice that you would leave to somebody?
Don't plan too far ahead. Just go out there and have fun and live in the moment. Don't try to predict how the outcome's going to be. Just live in it. Do your best while you're in the moment, and that's the outcome that's going to happen.
14 years old, and he just dropped a bomb on us. Just live in the moment. Have fun. Get it done. Don't think too far ahead. Don't take everything for granted. I like that. That's a good one there. This has been Talin Turner on Hoss Talks. I mean, what more can you say? Thanks for watching.
Performance Electronics, custom electronic solutions. From design to manufacturing, let us put your ideas in motion and become your company's full-service electronics manufacturing experts. Performance Electronics.